Yeah, I just forgot to record. Thank you. Okay. So when you're trying to install SQL Server, no problem. Whatever things we discussed, that's already discussed in the last week. Okay, so no issues about the previous things. So when you're trying to install SQL Server, what and all things you are going to get it with the SQL Server software. Okay. So these are the components, guys. Okay. So you are going to get database engine. I'll show you. Okay, I'll show you the database engine components and all. So database engine is the main component of the SQL Server, guys. Database engine is the main component. I told you, right? SQL Server is a software, okay, which will be used to store the data, to process the data, and to retrieve the data, right? So SQL Server is a software which will be used to store the data, to process the data, and to retrieve the data, right? Who is going to do all these things? Storing, processing, and retrieving. Who is going to do all these things, guys? Your database engine will do all these things. Okay, your database engine is going to store the data, is going to process the data, and is going to retrieve the data. So database engine is very important, guys. Database engine will help you whatever DBA activities we discussed. Okay, your database engine will help you to do all these DBA activities, guys, like storing, processing, and retrieving the data, guys. So database engine is the main component. So when you install SQL Server, I'll show you the database engine component. Along with this database engine, you'll also get other components like BIDS component, BIDS, okay? Business Intelligence Development Studio. It's a kind of a, what I can say, Power BI kind of stuff. Like Power BI we can use, right, to create some reports and all, to analyze the data and all, right? In the same way, in SQL Server also, we can create the reports using the existing data. We can analyze the data, okay? We can analyze the data, and we can integrate the data from different sources, guys. Again, as a DBA, you should know these things, guys. Generally, the market nowadays, wherever you are going, okay, at least if you're going for a small office also, or if you're going for a saloon also, people are collecting your data, right? If you're going for a saloon also, they are collecting your data. So tell me, guys, what is the use of collecting this data? What they are going to do with the data? Can anyone tell me?
They will reuse it.
What they are going to do with the data?
Their product marketing.
Yes. They are going to misuse the data, guys. Very simple. Okay. The simple thing is they are going to misuse the data. As a DBA, you should know the importance of the data. As a DBA, you should know the importance of the data. If you go to more supermarket, if you go to Reliance Digital, earlier, 10 years back or 15 years back, if any, this kind of supermarket chains are there, okay, or else if any product is there, so they don't know the market exactly. They don't have any idea about the market. Okay, they don't use it to collect the phone numbers and all. So what happened when these supermarket chains are started, like more supermarkets or else Reliance Digital, something like that, they started collecting the data, personal data and all. What they are doing with the data? They are analyzing your data. They are analyzing your data. Earlier, in case if the sales are down, they are used to introduce the offers across the country to improve the sales. But now they are collecting the data from every store. They are scrutinizing the data. They are analyzing the data. They are applying a lot of combinations on the data. Okay, in which region the sales are down. Okay, this particular Bangalore region sales are down. Okay, chalo. Let's introduce an offer for Bangalore people. They have the data, right? Right? They have the data of Bangalore people. Simply, they are going to start sending SMS. Okay, sugar 9 rupees. What is that? Dal 10 rupees or something like that. They are trying to attract, means they are misusing your data. Forget about all these things. If you go to some other places and all, like small shops also, they are going to collect your data, guys. Do you know there is a separate team? There is a separate team. They are going to buy your data regularly, daily. daily your data, personal data is going to be sold by others. Simply they are going to collect your data. And that too, you know, right, lot of frauds are happening in the market. They'll simply call to you, okay, so we are offering holiday pack, we are offering this pack, that pack. They are cheating you. So guys, again, I'm saying, if you are giving your mobile number, simply you're unlocking the cheaters. Okay, you're simply unlocking the cheaters to reach you guys. They're directly reaching you. They start sending messages to you. Okay, jackpot, rummy, different messages, different marketing calls you're getting daily. Marketing calls we can avoid, guys, but like these holidays. Okay, so our company is providing holidays. You have to pay this much only. Okay, so like this kind of people are cheating you, and you're going to lose 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees, guys. It's not so simple that you are thinking like you are giving your mobile number. Your mobile number now also 745. Now also your personal data is circulating, okay, in the market. Now also there is a separate team for this. They are going to buy your data. They are going to sell your data for scammers, guys. If I go to any shop, I don't agree to give my number. Why? What is the need? Don't agree, guys. Don't agree to give your numbers. Don't give your number. If they are still forcing you to give some other number, random number and all. They tell them every store will have their own number. If customer doesn't have mobile number, are they going to deny to sell the stock and all? No, they have their own number, store number. They are going to add that number. Whenever I say no to my mobile number, if they ask my number, whenever I say no, no sir, you should give, you should give. I don't give. If you want, okay, you can. Otherwise, I'll go. Then they are going to enter their own number. They have alternatives, guys. Still, they don't want to use that too. It's not a problem to give the number, but the thing is that the data will goes to the scammers. That is the main thing. What is there to give the number? Just it's a matter of 1 minute work. Not a problem, but they are selling our data. Legally or illegally, they are selling our data. Everything will be tracked, guys. Everything will be tracked. If you go to saloon shop, they are going to track you. We are going to sell your data to the hair products, some hair transplantations, some other hair products are there, right? Like that, they are going to sell your data. So be very careful while giving your data. Be very careful. Don't give unnecessarily. Don't give your number. Like if you go to some exhibitions and all, they are going to ask you, we'll do the lucky draw and all. Please give your number. No, guys, those are all scammers only. Okay, so your data, if it went to a scammer's hand, automatically you are going to lose a lot of things, guys. Believe me. Okay, so be very careful. As a DBA, you should know the importance of at least your personal data. Okay, so imagine your personal data is that much important. Imagine about the company's data, guys, how secure it should be. Okay, so that's how you have to manage, guys. So using these tools, they can analyze the data. So more supermarket is collecting the mobile numbers. Okay, this person how much he bought, this person how much he bought, what he bought. Okay, dal he bought for in the last month. Okay, how much he's eating. Okay, how many people are there? So he bought dal dal in the last month. Okay, or else sugar in the last month. Okay, so like again in the next month or next 2 months, he's again trying to buy some other goods. They're going to analyze. Okay, there is a sales, there is a less sales for this item. They're going to introduce special offers on that particular item. They'll start sending SMS to you guys. So how it is possible? They are analyzing the data using analysis services. They are creating the reports, okay, where the business is down, where the market is down. And they are integrating. To do this, they have to integrate the data from different sources, guys. Like they have to integrate the data from Excel sheet to SQL Server to Excel sheet, Notepad to SQL Server to Notepad. Okay, from other database source to SQL Server to some other database like Oracle and all. Okay, so how can it is possible, guys? Using these 3 services, they can analyze, they can generate reports, and they can even integrate the data. Okay, using these integration services, they can integrate the data between different database sources like SQL, Oracle, Excel sheet, whatever it is. Okay, they can integrate, guys. Along with that, we'll also get master data services, Python, R and all. We are not going to use these services, guys, as a DBA. Hardly we are responsible for database engine, 99.99%. If you are installing SQL Server means you have to install database engine. That is the main thing. And sometimes customers will ask us to install these components also. So I'll show you how to install these components. Okay. Like analysis services, how to install reporting. I'll show you guys. This is a separate course, BITS, Business Intelligence Development Studio. Those who are trying for data analyst and all, for them, they are going to learn this BITS and Power BI. Okay. So generally we don't need it. They might ask us to install the things, to configure things as a DBA. We are going to limited, okay, to install and configuring the BITS components like analysis, reporting, and integration services guys. But generally, we don't work on these things, okay? Any questions, please? I'm sorry for that. Any questions? Any questions, doubts? Any questions, guys? Any questions, doubts? No questions? Are you good? Okay, fine. Right. So we'll do one thing. Okay, so we'll start the demos, guys. So to install the SQL Server. Okay. Yeah, fine. So now let's start with the installation of SQL Server, guys. So directly we don't install SQL Server. So first we'll discuss the environment, guys, platform. Okay, so if I want, as you know, the SQL Server is one application. If I want to install an application, I should have platform, right? So first we'll discuss about the platform. Then does the master data services have anything to do with them? No, Dada. Right. Okay. So, right.
Sir, what is master data?
Who is that? Vibhuti. So master data services, I haven't used it till now. Okay, so I'm not sure about it, but I'll update you on this. Okay, what is master data services and all? We don't use it generally as a DBS. Okay, I'll check and I'll update you in the next class. Okay.
And sir, Python and R are the language which provided by this version.
In the latest SQL Server versions, these are the components of the latest SQL Server versions. Okay. So you don't find these components in SQL Server 2012 or 14 or 16. From 2017 onwards, they introduced these components. If you want, you can use it, but generally we don't use it. But they just introduce these components. Okay, you can still install during installation, guys. But Python and R nowhere related to the SQL Server DBA. Okay, and we are not going to cover these things. Just these are the components that you can see under features section. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, please? Any other questions? No? Okay, fine. So now let's go to this. Let me open, okay. Draw.io. I'm going to use Draw.io for the diagrams, guys, so that it will be clear. Okay. Right. So now I want to install now the task is I want to install SQL Server, right? So I want to install SQL Server. So if I want to install SQL Server, okay. If I want to install SQL Server, as you know that SQL Server is an application, what I should have, guys, to install this application, what I should have?
Setup.
Setup. What is that setup?
It's a software.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, we need operating system.
Okay, very good. Okay. Batch 51. Okay. Create. So I should have setup, right? So I can install SQL Server either in the desktop, like in your laptop directly, you can install SQL Server. we can install SQL servers directly in the laptops. But again, in the organization, we don't use this setup, guys. We will have a separate setup called servers. Okay. Servers, like I told you, Windows servers. We should have a separate setup. Okay. We are going to set up Windows servers. Okay. That is the platform we are going to use to install SQL servers. Guys, if I want to install SQL servers, first of all, I should have Windows server setup. Without Windows servers, again, guys, you can install SQL servers in your desktops also, but there is no use. I told you the difference between desktop operating systems and Windows server operating systems. Desktop operating systems are less capable when compared to Windows server operating systems. Desktop operating systems, server operating systems. So desktop operating systems are less capable when compared to the server operating systems. So we will use only Windows servers to set up the things here. So I should have the platform called Windows servers. Okay, I should have the platform called Windows servers. Now, already I have a desktop, guys. Okay, already I have the desktop. Now you can see everything what you can see on the sharing screen. The screen is from desktop only. Then I want to install one more server in this desktop. Okay, guys, listen carefully. It's my physical machine, the one that you can see currently. The screen is a physical machine screen. So there are different types of machines. Physical machine or bare metal. Okay, physical machine or bare metal, BM, and BM, guys, virtual machine. There are two types of machines: physical machines and virtual machines. Physical machines also called as bare metals. Okay, bare metals. Earlier, like 15-20 years back, okay, we used to have all physical machines only, where there is no virtualization concept. Okay, where there is no virtualization concept, we used to have, okay, physical machines only. Physical machines means, what is the difference between physical and virtual, guys? Very simple. Physical means you can see, you can touch, you can feel. Physical means you can see, guys, you can touch it, and you can feel. That is called physical machine. Your laptop is physical machine. You can see your laptop, you can touch your laptop, you can feel the laptop. That is called physical machine. Like, the simple difference is, you people are using Android and iPhones, right? You people are using. So your phone is a physical thing that you can touch it. But can you touch Siri? Or can you touch virtual assistant, Google virtual assistant? Can you touch it, guys? Can you touch virtual assistant? Virtual, it is saying virtual. Can you touch Siri? You can feel Siri. You can feel Siri, but you cannot touch Siri. Siri will be existed virtually in the iPhones, right? Again, we have, like, Android phones will have Google virtual assistant, which will be existed virtually. You can see it, you can feel it, but you cannot touch it. So that is called virtuality. It will be existed virtually 20 years back. Okay, when the systems are invented, 99% is, like, up to, like, virtual machines are introduced into the market. Almost all machines are physical machines only. You can see very big buildings and all, data centers. Data center, what is data center? Where you can see all the servers, okay, is called a data center. All the servers together in a building, that is called a data center. Data center is nothing but it's a collection of servers, either physical or virtual servers. I hope if you go to any engineering lab and all, you can see 50, 60 or 100 machines you can see directly, right? Those are called physical machines. Then what is virtual machines? Virtual machines will exist virtually, guys, using physical components. Okay, virtual machines will exist virtually. Most of you already know these things, but again, guys, in our classes, 70% non-technical people will be there. So initial classes, those who are already professionals, it might be boring to you, but I have to consider the non-technical people as well. So some people don't know what is virtual machine and all, what is physical machine and all. So I have to cover this. Please don't mind. If you already know the things, that's good. You can add your points also. Okay, but I'm considering the non-technical people, so discussing about these things and all. Okay. So what is virtual machines? Okay, so now imagine this is your office. Okay, imagine this is your office. Physical machines means like this it will be. Okay, Windows server. You can see the server physically. You are able to touch the servers and all. Okay, so you are able to touch it. It will be existed physically, guys. Physical machines means will be existed physically. Virtual machines means these machines will be existed virtually, where you can see, you can feel, but you cannot touch. Okay. For any machine is nothing but a system or server, anything you can call, guys. Machine, the organization will call it as a machines. Machines means what? Machine means your laptop is one machine. Your server is one machine. Okay. Technically, professionally, we'll call system as a machine in the organization. Okay. Machine means it's nothing but your system only. You can call it as a system. For example, if you want to create any machine, what are the important components of a server, guys, or what are the important components of any system? Tell me, what are the important components of any system? Tell me, guys. In your laptop, what are the important components?
Operating system.
OS.
OS, very good. Next.
CPU, RAM, ROM.
Very good. CPU, RAM, and ROM. These are the main components, physical components. Okay. OS is the software component. Okay. So you should have, these are the main components for any system, guys. Okay. CPU, RAM, and ROM. CPU means your central processing unit, and RAM means is your memory. ROM means your disk. Okay. Read-only memory, random access memory. RAM means random access memory. ROM means your read-only memory, which is hard disk. ROM is nothing but your hard disk. RAM is nothing but your memory. Okay. Very important. In the last class, we discussed what is RAM, ROM, difference between RAM and ROM. Just go through the recordings. Okay. You'll get an idea. Right. So using these components, I can create virtual machines. Okay. Again, guys. So here I'll have a pool of CPU cores. Okay. I'll have a pool of CPU cores. I'll have a pool of storage, and I'll have a pool of hard disks. Okay. Like CPU. Okay, so these are my CPU components, guys. See, this is how generally CPU will be. So CPU generally will track CPU or will count the CPU in terms of cores, guys. Yeah, cores is a kind of a word which will be used as a metric, okay, to count the CPUs and all. In the same way, storage, okay. So let's go with the RAM now. RAM. Okay. So this is my pool of RAM. Okay. These are the RAM slots. Okay. And hard disk, right? Disk. Or drive. Right. Okay. Right. I need this one. Listen carefully, guys. It's very important. So that's why I'm spending time. Okay. So these are my hard disk. Right. Okay, fine. So as you know that every machine, for every machine, CPU is important. For every machine, RAM is important. For every machine, ROM is also important. So we discussed about the physical machines. Okay, now we are discussing about the virtual machines, guys. Okay, and ROM or hard disk. Okay, so using these resources, okay, how the virtual machines will be created. Okay, so there is a software called virtualization software. There is a software called virtualization software. This virtualization software will help us. Okay, this virtualization software so this virtualization software will collect some CPU cores. We can give, guys, we can give the how many CPU cores you want, we can give. How much RAM you want, we can give. So this is your CPU pool, this is your RAM pool, and this is your storage pool, guys. Okay. So any machine, okay, any machine needs these three, right? These three are important components, right? So your virtualization software will take the responsibility of collecting these resources. It will collect some resources from the CPU, and it will collect some resources from the memory, and it will collect some resources from the storage, and finally it is going to create a virtual machine, guys. Okay, finally it is going to create a virtual machine. So who will help us to do all these things? Your virtualization software will help us to do all these things. Okay, your virtualization software will help us to do all these things, guys. Your virtualization software will help us to do all these things. So this is how generally a virtual server will be created, guys. This is how generally a virtual machine, virtual server or virtual machines both are same. Who will help us to collect the resources and to create the virtual machine, guys? Your virtualization software will help us to collect some resources from the pools. It will collect some CPU pools, it will collect some memory pools, it will collect some storage pool, and all together it will help us to create the VM. So this is called your virtual machine. Again, virtual machine means it will existed virtually. You can see, you can feel it, but you cannot touch. Physically don't exist, guys. It's a kind of a Siri. Will be existed virtually. What is the problem with the physical machines, guys? Can anyone tell me? Shanmukh, okay, that's fine. But what is the problem with the physical machines? Why don't we use physical machines itself? Why we are using virtual machines? Tell me, guys, what is the problem?
Cost, costing.
Cost, very good. Cost is one thing that you have to consider. Next.
Flexibility in work.
Flexibility, super. Super. Flexibility is one thing that you have to consider. Next.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, very good. Space is very important thing. Space is one thing that you have to consider, guys. Okay, space is also one important thing. Earlier, that's why we used to have big server rooms and all, very big buildings and all, separate buildings we used to have. Why? Because every server will occupy its own space. You should provide a separate cooling system. You should provide a separate electricity. You should provide separate power. You should provide separate network. Okay, you should provide, okay, maintenance and all for each and every machine. That is the big challenge, guys. And components, if any component, like generally as the servers are running together, sometimes there is a chance that components are going to be damaged. So you have to replace the components. Again, it's very difficult task. Okay, physically, the machines are physical machines and all. It's a difficult task, guys. Some engineer has to go to that location and he has to fix that issue. And if the server is in one location, if it is a physical machine, imagine that physical machine is in the London data center or in the New York data center. If something goes wrong with the physical machine, one engineer has to went to that particular location. and he has to fix it manually. Physically, he has to go to the data center. He has to find out the server. He has to replace the components, guys. Very difficult task. And maintenance is also very difficult. And it's like you have to spend more amount, more money on that in maintaining the physical things and all. So to avoid all these things, we have a concept called virtualization. So using this virtualization concept, we can create virtual machines, guys. So there is a virtualization software will help us to do all these things. So can anyone tell me what is the virtualization softwares are there in the market currently? The leaders in the virtualization softwares.
VMware Hyper-V.
Yes, someone said AWS and all, that is related to the cloud. Okay. AWS, Azure, that is related to the cloud. That is different. Okay. So we have Oracle VirtualBox. Okay. That is one software we have. VMware is also a famous. Okay. Most of the companies will use VMware. And Hyper-V, hypervisor. These are the three main leaders in the virtualization market. These are the three main leaders in the virtualization market, guys. So these people are playing a key role. Okay, these people are playing a key role. Okay, in the market for virtualization. So some companies might use VMware, some companies might use Oracle VirtualBox, some companies might use Hyper-V. What these softwares will do, guys, very simple. Using existing physical resources, they will help us to create a virtual machine. That's it. Either it's a VirtualBox or it's a VMware or if it's a Hyper-V also. Hyper-V is also not a small software, guys. Your Azure is running on Hyper-V concept only. For Azure, completely it's running with Hyper-V. Hyper-V is from Microsoft, guys. It's from Microsoft. Okay. So Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Windows Server, Microsoft Hyper-V. Okay, your Azure is running, the whole Azure is running with Microsoft, Hyper-V, guys, Hyper-V technology. And VMware, most of the companies will use VMware in the market. Again, every software will have its own features and all. Completely Azure is running with Hyper-V. Okay, and VMware. Okay, most of the people will use VMware in the market. And Oracle VirtualBox also, some people are using Oracle VirtualBox also. So in our, it's not like a recommendation, Dada. Okay, so people, it's all the three things, all the three softwares will do the same thing. Okay, it depends upon the extra features and all. Generally, people will use VMware in the market, in their organizations. Okay, but Microsoft will use Hyper-V only. We are going to use Oracle VirtualBox. And again, guys, these things will be controlled by your Windows team. Okay, Shanmukh, why you are using Oracle VirtualBox? Why not you are using VMware? There are a lot of, okay, what I can say, advantages and disadvantages with the VMware. Okay, so VMware generally needs high resources. Okay, VMware generally needs high resources like high CPU, high memory. I have to give. Okay, so it's not going to run with a low resources, guys. So Oracle VirtualBox is a kind of a lightweight process. So it will help us even though you have a small amount of RAM. Okay, 512 MB of RAM, still machine will run. But VMware, if you create a VM with a 512 MB of RAM, very struggle. It's very hard to run this machine, guys. Very slow. But Oracle VirtualBox will help you even though you create a machine with a 512 MB of RAM also. At least it's not as much slow as your VMware machine, but it's okay. We can still manage the things with 512 MB of RAM. Okay. So what?
No difference in working, right?
No. All the, yeah, see, the functionalities are same. Only the difference is the interface is going to be different. And again, okay, the process that you are creating in VMware, the process, if you are in the VMware, you will create VMware virtual machine in a different way. In the Oracle VirtualBox, you will create a VM in a different way. In Hyper, you will create a VM in a different way. But the functionality at the end of the functionality is same. So you don't see whether it is coming from Hyper-V or it is coming from Oracle VirtualBox or it is coming from VMware. At the end of the day, whether you have the server or not. As a SqlDBA, whether you have the server to install SQL Server or not. That's it. Whether we have the platform or not to install. So Shanmukh, why you are teaching Oracle VirtualBox if companies are using VMware? That is no need to bother about those things, guys. Why? Because if you create a VM, if you create a virtual machine using VMware or Oracle VirtualBox, at the end of the day, you can see the server, guys. The same server you can see, Windows Server 2019 or Windows Server 2022. There is no difference. Okay, if it is from VMware or if it is from Oracle VirtualBox, there is no difference, guys. Only thing is, as we are using our local laptops, which will have limited resources like RAM, CPU and all, Oracle VirtualBox is a somewhat an helpful software, guys. Okay, you can manage the things with Oracle VirtualBox, but whereas if you use VMware and all, it will be difficult. Okay, so it will be very slow and all. That's why I'm using Oracle VirtualBox. But again, at the end of the day, it's not our business whether they are using Oracle or they are using VMware or they are using Hyper-V. The product will be created, the platform will be created. We have to take control of the platform and we have to start installing the things, guys. Okay. So is this clear? What is virtualization? What and all virtualization softwares are there in the market? Everyone, is this clear, guys?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes, please.
So these resources, basically you explained, CPU, RAM and ROM, these are the pool of resources. These are the pool of resources in a computer or separate resources?
See, good question. Actually, in the organization, we maintain a separate boxes for all these things. We have pool of resources for CPU. We have pool of resources for RAM. We have, again, it's now I am creating a virtual machine using the laptop. See, very simple. This is the live example. I'm having 16 GB of RAM. Okay, I'm having 16 GB of RAM. This machine is having 16 GB of RAM. I am going to use this 16 GB of RAM to create some virtual machines. The main RAM is in my laptop only. I'm just allocating some RAM from this main RAM to create a VM. Okay, so these machines, these resources, the pool of resources, generally there is a separate software to manage these pool of resources. So again, these resources also will be in one machine, guys. At the end of the day, these resources also will be in one machine. Okay.
Okay, so that means if 16 GB RAM is there, so suppose we can create 4 virtual machine,
Depends.
2 GB for this, 2 GB
correct,
for this, 2 GB.
Correct. I can create 16 virtual machines also. No issues. But the amount that you are giving, allocating will be less. 16, say for example, I have 16 GB. So I cannot allocate the whole 16 GB, right, to the virtual machines. To run these things, I should have, okay, I should have this one, right, to run these setup. I should have some memory, some RAM and all, okay. I'm going to allocate some memory, some RAM to my local laptop. First, remaining the reserved RAM and all, I'm going to allocate it to the virtual machine. So if I allocate, imagine 8 GB, I just left it over to my laptop. Remaining 8 GB, I can create 8 VMs, 1 GB. I can create 16 VMs, 512 MB. I can divide, okay. So either if you want 2 GB, I can create 4 VMs only. If you want 4 GB, I can create 2 VMs only. Okay.
Sharma, one more question. Like, suppose, yeah, of course, CPU, RAM, and ROM is somewhere it is exist, right?
Yes.
So that center again, it is called data center.
Yes. That is also a data center where we are
And
managing
physical
resources.
machines are there. That is also called data center.
Correct. And these are not virtual resources, guys. Don't think these are. We cannot create CPU, virtual CPU, and all. You have to buy the physical CPU. See, for example, organization will buy 512 core CPU, guys. This is how it will be. Okay. For example, in our team, currently 30 people are there. Currently, in our class, currently 30 people are there. Imagine if I have like 30 rupees, I can share one rupee to each and everyone. In the same way, the organization will have like 512 cores. This 512 cores, out of this 512 cores, I'll give 64 cores to one VM, 32 cores to another VM, 8 cores to another VM, 128 cores to another VM. Depends upon the requirement, I can allocate those cores. If those 512 cores are completed, then I'll buy extra 512 cores. In the same way, core is nothing but a logical processor. I'll tell you guys in future classes what is core. Again, CPU will have logical processors, guys. Core is nothing but one CPU. That's it. Logically, as of now, one core is nothing but one CPU, guys. Okay. Right. So in the same way, organization will buy 1024 okay, a GB of RAM or 1 TB of RAM. Out of this 1 TB, it will share 128 GB to one machine, 32 GB to another machine, 8 GB to one machine, 128 GB to another machine. Once this 1024 GB is completed, it's allocated, again it will add 1024 GB. In the same way, storage, it will buy 50 terabytes or 100 terabytes. It will allocate 500 GB to one server, 1024 TB to 1024 GB to one server, 2 TB to one server. Like that, it is going to allocate the resources. If these resources are completed, again, the Windows team will keep adding the physical resources to the existing pool, guys. Okay? Is this clear, guys, everyone?
Shamukh, hello. One doubt, Shamukh.
Yes, please.
So in the organization, how to identify whether it is a physical server or a virtual
I'll tell
server?
you. Very good question, Tarnya. Very good question. I'll tell you how to identify a physical machine and a virtual machine. 99% is all are virtual machines only. Still, I'll tell you, okay, the difference between physical machine and virtual machine once it's created. As of now, if you just open MS Info 32 in the run, if you just open MS Info 32, okay, in the run, if you type this, if you see here, system manufacturer, okay, if you see here, system manufacturer is showing like Dell, Lenovo, HP. If you are able to see that kind of vendor names, that is a physical machine. If you see VirtualBox, virtualization, Hyper-V kind of stuff, that is a VM. Okay. And again, nowadays, no one is using, okay, physical machines, all are virtual machines only. So here under system name and system manufacturer, if you see a vendor names like Lenovo, HP, Dell, okay, if you see these kind of, okay, names, that is a physical machine. And if you see a VMware, Oracle VirtualBox, Hyper-V kind of names, that is a virtual machine. Is this clear, Ramya?
Yeah, got it, Shamukh. Thank you.
I'll show you once the VM is created. I'll show you. Okay, the same interface I'll show you. Any other questions, guys, from virtualization? Any other questions, please? Guys, don't hesitate to ask any question. No problem. Silly or simple. There is nothing like silly question and all. Don't hesitate to ask questions, guys. So I'll encourage you to open your mouth. Okay, don't worry about it. No one will mind about you, what and all you're asking. Okay, so you can ask your doubts, guys. Don't worry.
So suppose I am using the VirtualBox and I have closed the VirtualBox and memory like RAM is free or not
Yes,
when
very
I
good
have closed
question.
the
Generally,
VirtualBox.
yeah, very good question. Generally, see here, for the last batch, I have already created some VMs, right? So let me show you that. So in the organization, generally they don't close it, but again, here, if you stop the VM, whatever resources are allocated for that VM will be freed up. Okay. Now imagine I have all the VMs for the last batch. These are the 3 VMs for setting up HADR, high availability and disaster recovery for the last class. So I gave 3 GB. You can see here base memory 2 GB. Okay, 2048 MB to this machine and 3 GB to this machine and 2 GB to this machine. Total how much? 2 plus 3, 5 plus 2, 7 GB. So currently these machines are in powered off state. Okay, currently these machines are in powered off state. So if the machines are not running, the resources that are used by these machines will be freed up, means will be available. Okay, it will be released. The resources will be released if the machines are not running. If I start this machine, again, it will take the 2 GB from the existing 16 GB. Okay, it will take 2 GB from the existing 16 GB. So now you can see usage is 7.4, right? If I start this VM, the usage will become 9.4. It will be 2 GB will be added. If I start this VM, 9.4, this is like 3 GB, right? It's running with 3 GB, right? 9.4 plus 3 GB, how much? 13.4. If I start this VM also, 13.4 plus 2 GB, 15.4. If the machines are running, it will consume the 2 GB, 3 GB RAM, whatever is allocated. If machines are running, those resources will be freed up. Okay. Clear, guys? Any other questions, please? Any other questions? Any doubts? guys, to practice, as of now, 8 GB. Of course, most of you are having the laptop that you are using. I guess it will be 8 GB. I guess. Okay, if you bought 2-3 years back, generally it will be 8 GB RAM. Okay, minimum 8 GB we are getting. But still, if you are using old machines, it might be 4 GB machines also. You can practice 50% of our course with 4 GB. Okay. Why? Because again, 4 GB itself is not enough for running Windows 10. Already this 4 GB, whatever Windows 10 operating system you have, 4 GB is okay. Your Windows 10 will take the whole 4 GB. But still, at least you can create a VM, okay, which will be very slow. But if anyone is having 4 GB, at least you can practice for some topics. To practice all the topics again, okay, I'm requesting you to add 4 more GB or add 12 GB, guys. Okay, 12 GB. I'll tell you guys. Okay, 12 GB means it's not mandatory generally to practice all the concepts. You to practice all the concepts, including advanced concepts like HADR, like log shipping, mirroring, replication, clustering, and always on. At least 8 GB to 12 GB RAM is needed, minimum to minimum. Why? Because 3 VMs are going to run at a time to practice advanced concepts. So if you allocate 1 GB to each VM, 3 VMs will take 3 GB, right? Your local laptop will take 4 to 5 GB, right? So 5 plus 3, minimum 8 GB we need to practice advanced concepts. But if you have 4 GB, again, nothing to worry, you can practice 50%. And one more suggestion I'll give you, just buy 4 GB extra RAM or 8 GB extra RAM. Okay, hardly it will be, if it is 4 GB, it will be 800 rupees. Okay, or in the US, it will be like $10, around $10. If it is 8 GB or 16 GB, it will be hardly, okay, 15 to 1600 rupees. In the US, it will be like $16, something like that. Okay, so you can spend little bit extra to practice all the concepts, guys. Not now, immediately, no need to buy. Later, after 2-3 weeks, you can plan it and you can buy it, guys. Okay, any other questions, please, here in terms of system resources? If we close the VM, then application. Yes, Pooja, you are correct. Okay, if you close the VM, generally we don't close the VM, but if you close the VM, the Windows server will be stopped. If the Windows server is stopped, SQL server will be stopped. If SQL server is stopped, the application will be down.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, I have one doubt regarding
Yes.
some advanced concept. Sir, for always on, for the 2 VM instance, how much RAM I will allocate?
That's what. See, if you want like if the machine should be faster, means you can allocate 2 GB, at least somewhat faster. If you want more faster, means if you want good performance, means allocate 3 GB. But generally,
I have 8 GB RAM.
yeah, then you can allocate. See, if you have 8 GB RAM, that's okay. You can practice always on also. 1 GB you can allocate to each VM. But still, if you need more performance, like if you need a quick response, if the machines wants to be faster, buy 8 more GB. So it will become 16 GB, so that you can allocate 2 GB or 3 GB to each VM.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
In one VM, how many servers we create?
One VM, how many servers we can create? There is no limit, sir. Your wish, okay? If you ask me, Shanmukh, if I gave you 100 rupees, to how many people you can distribute, tell me. And if you give 1 rupee each, 100 people you can distribute. If you give 2 rupees each, 50 people you can distribute. If you give 3 rupees each, 33 people you can distribute. If you give 4 rupees each, 25 people, 10 rupees, 10 people. So it depends. In the same way, depends upon the CPU, memory, and hard disk. Okay, so it depends upon, see, in one server, imagine if I'm having 32 cores, you can create 32 VMs. Each core, 1 VM will be, okay, allocated to, 1 core will be allocated to each VM. So 32 VMs you can create. If you give 16 cores, 2 VMs only you can create. So it depends upon how you are distributing. It's not depends upon how much capacity you have.
Okay.
Okay.
After creating a VM, is it possible to increase or decrease the RAM?
After creating VM, is it possible to
Increase or decrease the RAM?
yeah, that is possible. That is possible. But it should be in stopped state. While running, you cannot do that. You have to stop the VM and you have to extend the RAM, or else you can decrease the RAM also. You can do that, no issues.
And do we have to keep some memory free? Like suppose 8 GB RAM is there, so 10 only we can distribute, and one is still 2 GB we cannot distribute.
See, it depends. Generally, if you use 8 GB also, still if you create VM, one VM with 1 GB, 1 GB and all, still your machines will be slow, your laptop also slow. Why? Because nowadays, generally, if you install normal few applications like P4 applications also, it will use 8 GB, minimum 8 GB. And if it's running with Windows 11, minimum to minimum, it needs minimum 6 GB. Out of 8 GB, 6 GB system will be taken, guys.
No,
So,
Shanmugh, my question is, uh, do we have to keep free space? Like 2 GB we cannot allocate to any virtual machine.
why we cannot allocate 2 GB?
We can?
Yeah,
That's
we
not
can
my
allocate
question.
1 GB also.
Okay.
We can allocate 512. See, very
Just like I
simple.
was thinking about, like we have 8 GB, some
No, 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 no. See, you can allocate very simple. Okay, very, very simple here. You can allocate 512 MB also. But the thing is, the server will become very slow. Okay. If you allocate 1 GB, that's fine. If you allocate 2 GB, it's better. If you allocate 4 GB, it's much better. If you allocate 8 GB, it will be faster. The thing is, if you give less resources, the performance will be less. If you give more resources, performance is good. Okay,
Alright.
you can still create a VM with 512 MB RAM, but it will take a lot of time to open each and every application. That's the main challenge. So that's why we don't use 512 MB and all. Why? Because server should be generally, it should be fast, right? So in the organizations, generally each server will have minimum to minimum 32 GB, 64 GB, okay? 128 GB servers will be there. 256 GB servers will be there. I know a machine with 512 GB RAM, guys. And the NASA kind of, in the NASA, ISRO kind of systems, where you are trying to analyze lot of pictures and all, they are going to use petabytes of RAM. Petabytes of RAM, supercomputers, guys. Not storage, petabytes of RAM itself they are going to use. 1 minute, just 1 minute. Kiran. Shell scripting Ansible. Sir, again, అదేంటిది నెంబరు ఏమైనా ఐడియా ఉందా లాస్ట్ ఎండింగ్ విత్ 0437 షెల్ స్క్రిప్టింగ్ ఇది సాటర్డే సండేస్ ఉందా కిరణ్?
Saturday, Sunday, it's only past 437.
437 యూజ్ చేయడానికి అవ్వదు అనుకుంటా. అయితే ఈ రోజు ఆల్రెడీ నేను క్లాస్ లో ఉన్నాను కదా, అదే వాడుతున్నాను. ఐ మీన్ ఆ అకౌంటే వాడుతున్నాను. సో మనం వేరే అకౌంట్ ఇస్తాను, ఆగండి మీకు. అయితే లేదంటే ఒక పని చేయండి. ఏం చేద్దాం, జనరల్లీ సాటర్డే సండేస్ మీకు ఏ టైంలో క్లాసెస్ ఉంటాయి?
నేను ఇంటికి తీసుకుంటాను అన్నాను. ఇంటికి నేను నిద్ర వేయలేకపోయినాను, అందుకు 8:30కి లేచాను. అతనికి చెప్పాను. జాబ్ కూడా జాయిన్ అవుతాడట.
జాబ్ కూడా జాయిన్ అవుతున్నాడా? ఓకే ఓకే, సరే. అయితే ఒక పని చేద్దాం. మనకి ఇంకోటి ఉంది, ఇంకే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఉంది. అయితే నేను మీకు లింక్ షేర్ చేస్తాను, ఆ లింక్ యూజ్ చేయండి అయితే.
సరే సార్,
ఓకే డన్. Thank you. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Yes, anyone?
Shanmugh, small doubt.
Yes, please.
Hello.
How much memory need to allocate for this, sir, based on system performance or what?
Ojile, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 1 minute, guys. I'm sorry. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. I'm getting. 1 minute. Hello, Srikanth. చెప్పండి శ్రీకాంత్. ఓకే ఓకే పెట్టేశారా? ఓకే 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 అండి ఓకే ఓకే సరే అండి సరే సరే అయితే వస్తాను వస్తాను ఒక 2 hours లో వస్తాను. 2 hours లో వస్తాను. ఓకేనా? 2 hours లో స్టార్ట్ అవుతాను. సరే అండి సరే అయితే బాయ్. అవునమ్మా అవును. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. Yeah, tell me, guys, someone is asking something.
Shanmugh Praveen here.
Yeah, Praveen.
Actually, you said that the allocation of this RAM, this is before creating the virtual machine, right?
Before creating the virtual machine only, but we can manage after creating also.
That's what I want to. If the performance is very low, can we increase the RAM capacity? That is my question.
We can do that, Praveen. We can do that at any time. If you want, we can increase the RAM. We can increase all the resources. We can increase the RAM. We can increase CPU. We can increase storage also. Generally, we'll increase storage regularly. Okay. Sometimes we'll get disk space issues and all. But a RAM CPU needs a system reboot, whereas storage doesn't need any system reboot. Okay. We can increase after creating the VM also. We can increase or we can decrease or we can change the resources after creating the VM also.
If the reboot has happened, then virtual machine will be.
See, that's what, Praveen. It's not like daily we are going to add 1 GB. Okay, architect will plan how much they need, how much RAM they need. Okay, so generally we'll use the same. We'll allocate the Windows team will allocate the RAM. Okay, like 128 GB, something like that. While creating the VM itself, they'll allocate more RAM. So it's not like daily they are going to add 1 GB. Daily they are going to restart the server. If there is a situation, then they'll take the downtime. They are going to add the RAM, but not regularly. It might be a yearly activity or every 2 years or 3 years. Depends upon the application. If the application is keep increasing, if the traffic is increasing, they are going to add it. But not like every day they are going to add the RAM or CPU. After 2 or 3 years, based on the traffic, they are going to add extra resources. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Okay.
Shamukh, I have a silly questions.
No problem. No silly question. I don't agree that is a silly question. Okay. Tell me.
Actually, whenever we purchase for SQL Server licensing, generally they ask for what kind of your requirement. Is it single core, 2 core licensing is required? So I am very confused for that, because in a single CPU having 4 core, 8 core CPUs are there. So I mean to say, what core they are asking for? Is it they are asking for CPU, or inside
CPU
the
only.
core they are asking for?
CPU only. CPU only. So generally we have different types of licensing, Praveen. Okay. So core based licensing, user CALs licensing. So that is CPU only. Okay. So core based licensing will be their number of cores. Based on the number of cores that you have, based on that they are going to charge you. It will be like that. Okay. So we'll take a separate class on this, like how the licensing will work on that. So there we can discuss. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions?
How can we say to need to allocate the storage to each VB based on system performance or what?
Based on the requirement only, Vedramaya. So generally it will be like okay. Generally they are going to see, for example, if any application is there, based on the application, okay, whether it is a small application, whether it is a big application or internal application or external application. So your application team will sit with the architect for every application, for every product. Architect will be there. Your architect and your application will discuss, okay, this much amount, this much amount of data we can get it, this much amount of request, this much amount of traffic we can get it. Based on that, they are going to calculate and then they are going to create VM initially. Okay. For this system, allocate this much of RAM, allocate this much of storage, allocate this much of CPU. Initially, they are going to calculate, your architect and application team will calculate this and they are going to allocate some resources to the VM and they are going to, okay, create the VMs based on the requirements. Later, if there is any sudden growth in the traffic, then we are going to add extra storage, extra resources and all. Okay, initially we cannot, 99.99% we cannot guess how much exact RAM it is going to be used. So your architect and your application team will sit together on this and they are going to decide. So that's why one server will have 32 GB RAM, one server will have 64 GB RAM, one server will have 128 GB RAM. Why like that? For a same application, okay, is it like that? For same application, one server will have 32 GB, one server will have 64 GB, not like that. Depends upon the application. If it's a small application, why I have to utilize 128 GB of RAM? These resources are not free, right? You are not going to get it from the air. You have to spend a lot of money to buy the CPU, lot of money to buy the RAM, lot of money to buy the storage. So one server runs with a 32 GB RAM. Why? Because that is enough for that application. That's an internal application. It can manage 32 GB RAM. In our sense, see, now 30 people are there in this class. Someone is using a laptop with 4 GB, someone is using with 8 GB, someone is using 16 GB. My requirement is different, right? I'm using 16 GB. Till now, your requirement is enough with 4 GB, right? Now you have a requirement that you have to increase the RAM. Now you are studying, you want to practice. There is an extra requirement for you. So you are going to add extra RAM. This is how, when there is a requirement, then we are going to add it. Is it clear, Virbrahmya? So till now you're okay with 4 GB, like that, that's fine. Whatever applications you're running, that is okay with 4 GB. But now there is a requirement that you have to increase your RAM. So you are going to add 4 more GB. Why? There is a requirement. There is a sudden requirement in your, like whatever we can say. There is a sudden requirement you have to learn SQL Server. So for that to practice, you need minimum 8 GB. So that's why you're increasing the RAM. That's how it is going to work. When there is a requirement, we have to increase the RAM. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Yes, Shanmukh, Ramya here.
Yes.
If the server is a physical server and if we do have drive space issue, then is there any possibility to increase the space or storage expansion?
See, that's what I'm not sure about it. Why? Because physical servers are all, it's gone since 15 years back itself. By that time, even I also didn't use any physical machines till now. I used it, but again, some needs storage without restarting the servers. We can extend it. Some physical machines needs a restart of the servers. Okay, but I'm not sure about it. Physical machines, I'm sure about it. You have to restart the Windows server. If it is a physical machine, definitely I'm sure about it. You have to restart the server. Okay, why? Because without restarting, you cannot add extra storage. But that is, I can say that is irrelevant question. Okay, we are not using physical machines. Not only we, okay, no one is using physical machines now. Okay, but I'm sure that you have to restart the server to extend the storage if it is a physical machine. Virtual machine, you can do it by online, but physical machine, you have to restart it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Shanmukh, one more question regarding my laptop. Actually, my laptop is i3 process and I have 8 GB RAM. Can I add more 8 GB RAM?
You can add it. You can add by again here. We have some challenges, guys. Okay, how can we add 8 GB? How can we add 4 GB and all? Depends upon the slots, number of slots you have. Generally, every laptop will have 2 slots if it's a new and all. So again, each slot, 1 RAM you can add, 1 RAM for each slot. Okay, 1 RAM for each slot. So 1 RAM means that RAM can be 2 GB, that RAM can be 4 GB. But again, each slot will have its own capacity. Shanmukh, can I add 32 GB RAM? No, you cannot. Okay, why? Because each slot will have the limited capacity, guys. Max to max 8 GB or 16 GB each slot. As of now, in the laptop, I am not saying in the organization servers. Servers, you can add each slot with 32 GB or 64 GB and all. Generally, here.
Shanmukh, you mean to say these 2 slots are additional slots?
No,
Or
not additional
ah.
slots, main slots. These two are, see, I'm using one application called CPU-Z. Okay, very simple application. Just download this CPU-Z, very small application, install it. Okay, so if you install this one, you can see how many slots are there. And you can see currently what is the capacity of the slot. See, go to this memory. Okay, you can see my RAM is DDR4. Again, while buying the RAM, check the RAM, guys. We have different types of RAM, DDR3 RAM, DDR4 RAM. If it is DDR4, buy DDR4 only. If it is DDR3, buy DDR3 only. You cannot mix both. If it is DDR4 and if you buy DDR3, okay, you cannot use that one. So make sure before buying the RAM, check, you install CPU-Z application, very small application, immediately it will be installed. Check under memory section whether it is DDR3 or 4. If it is old machine, 5 years back machines and all, generally it will be DDR3 RAMs. If it is new machines, you can see DDR4. DDR4 is the latest one. And here, while buying, check this DDR3. Two to three things you have to check before buying the RAM. One is whether it is DDR3 or DDR4. One thing you have to check. Second one is how many slots you have. Okay, if you go to SPD section, you can see I have two slots. Slot 1, which is DDR4, which is 8 GB module. Module means, okay, one single piece. And slot 2 is having again DDR4, which is 8 GB. So I have added 8 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM. Okay, I have added 8 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM. In the same way, slots means two main slots will be there. These are not additional slots. These are the two main slots. Okay, so each slot maximum capacity will be there. It might be 16 GB, something like that. So hardly one slot you can add 16 GB, up to 16 GB. Anywhere between 2 GB to 16 GB you can add for one slot. Some people will have, see, for example, if you are using 8 GB, you feel that is slow. So 8 GB means sometimes in each slot 4 GB will be there, or in a single slot 8 GB will be there, another slot is free. In that case, you can buy extra 4 GB or 8 GB, you can add it. But in one slot 4 GB, in another slot 4 GB is there, imagine. So if you want to increase the RAM again, you have to remove one 4 GB RAM and you have to add extra 8 GB RAM. Now it will become 12 GB. Is it clear now, guys? Everyone, is it clear how the slots will work? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have to remove. See, I'm not saying in every case. Generally, if it is 8 GB means you can add extra 8 GB in another slot. But if they distributed like 4 GB in two slots, you have to remove 4 GB slot and again you have to add 8 GB slot. So that 4 GB is going to be wasted. Okay, someone asked, who is that, Pravina? Who asked this question?
Yeah.
So is it clear now, Praveen?
Yeah,
Can
clear.
we keep only one slot with extra RAM?
If only one slot, sorry.
Can we add only one slot with higher
See,
RAM?
yeah, you can add it. See, in that case, for example, you are having only 4 GB RAM. One slot, generally 2 slots will be there, but you have only 4 GB RAM in a slot. You want to increase by 16 GB, remove that 4 GB, you can add that 16 GB in that single slot. You can do that. But again, okay, so it's not a good option, but you can still do that. You can remove the existing RAM and you can just add the 16 GB in a single slot. Anyhow, you bought this, for example, you bought 16 GB, imagine. So you can simply add that 16 GB in another slot. So first slot 4 GB, second slot 16 GB, so it will be 20 GB. Instead of simply removing and all, you can simply add it. Yes, Dhananjay, what happened? Yeah, any other questions here, guys, please? Any questions? Still, if you have any questions, let me know. Guys, can you give me 1 minute? Just give me 1 minute, please. Don't to start one meeting. Sure. That. In the meantime, you can ask your questions, guys. You can type your questions. Just give me one please. Right, fine. Let me check these questions after. Okay. Yeah. Same time, Dharanjay. Same time. After also same time. Right. Like RAM, we can increase CPU. Yes, we can increase all the resources, Sandeep. We can increase CPU cores, we can increase RAM, we can increase storage. Yeah, we can do that. Any other questions, guys, here? About RAM, CPU, everything. Any questions, please?
Okay, start regarding the class.
Recording in progress.
Right, okay. Fine, if no questions, okay, what we can do, okay, so we'll install Oracle VirtualBox, guys. And again, okay, so in the evening session, if possible, I'll explain, okay. What is the process generally in our training? We'll more concentrate on the process. As a DBA, as an experienced DBA, you should be able to, okay, understand the process of installing SQL Server. See, installation, anywhere you can see. Please be muted. Please be muted. If you have questions, then you can unmute and you can ask. Okay, if you don't have questions, okay, that's fine. And try to, like, if you're outside, try to ask your questions in the chat. Okay, right, fine. So you should be able to understand the process in installing the SQL Server. Installation of SQL Server is just 5 minutes work, guys. Next. Select the instance, select the features, give the service account, give the collation settings, select the drives, select the storage, okay, and select 1 to extra settings and all. That's it, and you can install SQL Server. It's just matter of 5 minutes, okay. But you should know the process. What is the process involved in installing SQL Server? You should know the process, guys. So this process will concentrate in the next week. Like how we are going to get the ticket, who will ask us to install SQL Server, what is the process, how the ticket will go, what is the hierarchy, who will work on this ticket first. Why? Because if I want to install SQL Server now, can I install directly SQL Server without having the platform? Can I install, guys? Is it possible to install SQL Server without having the platform? Without having Windows Server, can I install? Not possible, right? I should have Windows Server. Who will design, who will create Windows Server? Windows team will create Windows Server. And I need some important softwares, prerequisite softwares and all. Who will install? Windows team. And we have to open some ports. Who will do that? Network team. Okay, and we have to make the system communicate, like they have to enable the communication by using like RDP and all. Who will do that? Network team. So lot of teams involved in creating the VM, guys. Windows team, network team, storage team, they have to complete their work. Finally, DB team is going to install the SQL Server. So this is the process. So we'll concentrate more on the process. Why? Because you people are going to try with a 4 years experience, 5 years experience. You are not going to try as a freshers, right? So you should know the process first. So in our training, we'll mainly concentrate on the process, guys. It's not like, okay, chalo, take this machine, copy the SQL Server setup file, open the setup file, run as admin, right click, next, install the SQL Server. No, you don't learn anything. Hundreds of videos are there for that. But no video or else no trainer is concentrating on the process nowadays, guys. It's very important. You should know the process as an experienced DBA. So what is the process involved? Whatever things we discuss, the same process will be involved in creating the VM, guys. So we'll discuss the process in the next class. So what we are going to do now, so I'm going to install a virtual machine software. We are going to use Oracle VirtualBox throughout our practice. Again, guys, so Shanmukh, you are using Oracle VirtualBox in the organization. They are using VMware. No issues for us. At the end of the day, VM is accessible or not. Again, there is no difference if you create VM in the Oracle VirtualBox, if you create VM in the VMware, if you create VM in the Hyper-V. The product and the product is same. Whatever intermediate software you are using to create VMs, at the end of the day, you are going to install Windows Server 2012 or Windows Server 2016 or Windows Server.
నేను ఒక 1 hour లో చేస్తాను.
At the end of the day, you are going to install Windows Server 2016 or Windows Server 2019. The interface is going to be same, right? Whether it is a Oracle VirtualBox or whether it is a VMware or whether it is a Hyper-V. So no need to concentrate on the interface, like the intermediate software that we are using to create VMs. This will be taken care by your Windows team. So at the end of the day, whether we have Windows Server or not, that is main important. Whether it was created by Oracle VirtualBox or it was created by VMware or Hyper-V, no matter. Okay, no issues for us. We should have one Windows Server. That's it. Okay, so we are going to use Oracle VirtualBox, as I said, lightweight process. You can create VMs with less resources also. That's why I'm concentrating. Throughout our practice, we are going to use Oracle VirtualBox only. We are not going to touch VMware. And no need to worry about who is going to create VMs in the organization. Generally, we don't involve in these activities. Creating VM, adding some IP addresses, opening the ports will be taken care by different teams. So at the I'll tell you where DBA has to involve. Once the server is ready, once the server is accessible, then only DBA work will start. So in our practice, we are the DBA team. In our practice, I'm saying, in our practice, we are the DBA team, we are the Windows team, we are the storage team, we are the network team. So throughout our practice, we are going to touch 40% to 50% of Windows activities. 40 to 50% of Windows activities we are going to touch, guys. So you should know all these things. But in the organization, we don't have access to create VMs and all. That will be taken care by a different team. Okay, we don't have access to do some network related settings and all. That will be taken care by the network team. That will storage related things will be taken care by the storage team. Finally, DB related things will be taken care by the DBA team. Okay. So now we are going to install Oracle VirtualBox software in this class. Okay, it's very simple. I have already installed Oracle VirtualBox software in my laptop. I cannot uninstall and I cannot show you. It will create some confusion. What I'm going to do is, if anyone is connected from the laptop, please let me know. I'll give you the share access to you. You can share your screen. You can, if you don't have Oracle VirtualBox software. Okay. So just please let me know, guys, if anyone is connected from the laptop. If you're okay to share your screen, you can share your screen. I'll help you how to download Oracle VirtualBox, how to install. Anyone is ready to share their screen? Make sure there is no personal things on the screen. It will be recorded and it will be uploaded to the YouTube. Okay, Pooja, is that fine for you? It will be uploaded to the YouTube. Is that okay for you? I hope there is no personal things. Okay, done. Thank you. So what you can do, you can share your screen. I'm going to stop the screen sharing. You can share your screen. You can click on the screen share screen option will be there. You can click on that green option, share screen. Share the whole screen, not a particular window. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, I guess you joined from the browser, right? You haven't installed the Zoom app. Okay, fine. No issues. Pooja, if possible, try to unmute again. Fine. Okay. Right. Okay. So now what you can do, you can minimize this window, Zoom window, and open the browser once. Yeah. You can open any. First, we have to download the Oracle VirtualBox software. And Pooja, you haven't shared the screen. You just shared a window. Stop sharing. Again, start share. And you can click on the whole entire screen. Choose entire screen. Don't choose a specific window. While sharing, you can see entire screen or screen option. Your voice is too low, Pooja. Very low. Yeah, now I can see the whole window. Yeah, that's fine. Now minimize it. Minimize this. Open Google Chrome. Open Google Chrome. It's already there on the taskbar. Okay, very good. Okay, go to Google. Type download Oracle VirtualBox. Download Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, done. Very good. Hit enter. Okay. So you can see the first website, guys, VirtualBox, www.virtualbox.org. The first website, click on that. Don't download the latest version, I'll tell you. Okay, you have to download the old builds 6.1. Can you see the first option, VirtualBox 6.1 builds? VirtualBox 6.1 builds, yes, correct. Click on the blue color, yes, click on that one. So when you click on this option, it will ask you to choose the host, whether it is Windows host or Mac OS or Solaris. Choose Windows host. Choose Windows host. You can see the first option. Yes, very good. That's it. Very simple to download, guys. It's an 100 MB file. Okay, don't take much time to download 100 MB. Hardly it will take 1-2 minutes. Okay, depends upon your network speed and all. Taking time, huh? Okay, that's fine. Then it was downloaded. Okay, so what you can do, click on that. Wait a minute, it's still downloading. It should show the folder. Yeah, click on that folder option. Okay, done. You can see, right? This is the software. You can see now, VirtualBox. So right click on it and click on Run as Administrator. Guys, whenever you are trying to install anything, okay, this is very important, guys. Wait a minute. Pooja. Okay, so it's very important. Always don't double click on the softwares, guys. So sometimes like related to the SQL servers and all. So can you see a shield kind of thing on the icon? The shield, yellow color, blue color shield. On the icon of Oracle VirtualBox, a small shield. Okay. How to identify whether I have to run this application as run as admin? How to identify? If that is your question, Shanmukh, lot of applications are there. How to identify if I want to run any application with run as administrator? How to identify? If you see, keep your cursor. Okay, let me try to control your system, Pooja. I guess I cannot control you. You are using Oracle. So this one, right? Browser, right? Okay. So if you see the Oracle VirtualBox icon, you can see on the icon. Okay, can you see the icon? Starting icon. The small icon is there, right? Starting. Yeah. Can you see, guys, a small shield kind of thing? The same shield with run as administrator. Can you see both shields are same? On the icon, you can see a small shield kind of thing. That shield is nothing but run as administrator. Means if you see that kind of icon with a shield, that means you have to open applications with run as administrator. Is it clear, guys? If you see any icon with this kind of shield, you have to open that application with run as administrator. So choose run as administrator. Okay. So installation of Oracle VirtualBox is very simple, guys. Next install. We are not going to discuss anything in this. Why? Because this will be taken care by the Windows team in the organization. So click on yes. I hope you can see yes button. Just click on yes. Right. So these things will be taken care by the Windows team, guys. So that's why generally no need to concentrate on the Oracle VirtualBox more. Okay. So
Sir,
we
if
have
we
to.
don't run as administrator, then what will happen?
Nothing. You might face some challenges. It won't work properly. 100% it won't work. Okay. It won't work effectively. Some features might work. Some features might not work. Or you might face some errors while installing the software. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So next. Yes. Click on yes. And install. That's it, guys. This is how generally we'll install the Oracle VirtualBox software. In between, you might get any network-related pop-ups. Just click on install. If you are getting any pop-up kind of thing, you can see install button. Mostly you will get network-related pop-ups and all. Choose yes or install button. Okay, so that Oracle VirtualBox is going to be installed. Again, in the organization, we don't install any Oracle VirtualBox. Already machines will be there, setup will be there. Okay, so no need to worry about it, guys. I'll tell you the process, okay, in the evening class or tomorrow morning. So I'll tell you the process. You will get to know the process and all, like what is the process involved in that, so that you will get a clarity. We don't do these activities in the organization, but again, in our practice, throughout our practice, we are the DBA team, we are the network team, we are the Windows team. So we have to set up these things. No one is going to set up in your laptop, right? So that's why we are setting up all the things from the ground level. But in the organization, to do these things, separate teams will be there. They are going to take care of it. Okay. You got any pop-up? Click on install or yes. Whatever option is showing, just click on install or yes. That's it. Finish. Okay, done. So now what you can see, minimize all these things, go to your desktop. You can see a shortcut will be created on the desktop. Right? Yeah, it was created, right? Open this application with run as administrator. Right click, run as administrator. So as of now, we just installed this Oracle VirtualBox software. This will help us. Okay, yeah, you can close it and you can click OK. Whenever you are getting, just click OK. Don't download and don't install anything. Just click OK. Done. So right click, run as administrator, click OK again. So this is just the software installed, guys. Now using this software, we can create VMs. Okay, by using your laptop RAM, by using your laptop CPU, by using your laptop storage, we can allocate some of your laptop RAM to VM. We can allocate some of your CPU cores to VM. We can allocate some of your server or laptop storage to the VM. All together, we can create the virtual machine. So in the next class, I'll show you how to create a virtual machine.
Sir, in the organization, these VM software are installed in the main server, no?
Sorry, the VMs?
These VM softwares are installed in the main server.
Correct. Yes. There is a centralized server. There they are going to install VM software.
And these are responsible by Windows team.
Correct. These are the maintained. These things will be maintained by the Windows team. Click yes, I guess, Pooja. Can you see any yes or no? Click yes if you're able to see it. Okay. So that's it. Yeah. Now you can see a platform like this. This is like a kind of manager, Oracle VirtualBox manager. By using this interface, we are going to manage the VMs, guys, creating VMs, deleting VMs, adding resources, managing the resources. Okay. Like all these things you can manage using this Oracle VirtualBox Manager interface, guys. Okay. So in the next class, I'll show you how to create a VM and how to install Windows Server operating system, and then how to proceed to install SQL Server, guys. That's it for today. If you have any questions, you can ask me, guys. Otherwise, that's it for now. You can stop sharing. Yes, thank you, Pooja.
Is there any difference between Postgres and MS SQL architecture?
Jitendra, I mean, I'm sorry for this. I'm not sure like about Postgres. I know only SqlDBA.
No, sir, but I want to know
Definitely,
difference.
Definitely, there will be an architectural difference. Postgres and SqlDB, they don't work same as it is. Okay, we have like log-file architecture, data file architecture. So both are different products, right? So they have their own architecture and also definitely there will be a difference. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions, please?
Sharma, I have one question. Like
Yes,
for the
Pooja.
different applications, we will create different VMs, right? How about OS?
OS, VR means in the organization, VM means including OS, Pooja. What is the use? For example, you bought a new laptop, if there is no OS, what is the use of that new laptop? VM means including OS. This will be taken care by the Windows team. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions?
Sir, this Windows Server takes how much RAM to install?
See, I told you earlier, okay, so depends upon your requirement. If you need a big machine, you can add 32 GB, 64 GB, 128 GB. If you need small machine, you can still create with 512 MB of RAM also. It's not like fixed how much RAM means. Depends upon your requirement. Depends upon your requirement, you will add extra RAM. If your requirement is like small requirement and all, just to practice, you can create a VM with 512 MB RAM also. Okay, so it depends upon your requirement, it will be. Whatever your requirement will be, based on that, you can create. You like 512 MB to like 1024 GB also you can create. Depends upon your requirement. And more than that also you can create. But in the organization, we have 128 GB machines, 256 GB RAM machines, okay, 512 GB RAM machines, like that it will be. It's not like a fixed number. Based on your requirement, we can create a VMs with different RAM sizes. Okay. Any other questions, please?
Sir, you are providing notes for all the lecture
Yes,
or
yes.
only?
You will get notes, okay, for all these things, whatever we discussed. All these things will get the notes. Softwares also will get it for the registered students, not everyone. Guys, tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, okay. So the link will be changed, guys. I'll update you on that. Okay, so as of now, okay, I'll update you on that, guys. I have to change the link, okay. So not sure when, but I'll update you on this, okay. So the registered students will get a new link, okay. Yeah. So any other questions, guys? Any other questions?
So the next class will be the same as before, right?
Correct. The same as before means like timings you're asking, Mohammed, or concept you're asking?
No. I'm just asking about the next class.
Next class about same means in terms of timings or concept?
Yeah, timings. Yeah, so
timings same. Timings are same. Those
oh, okay. So can I leave now? I mean.
Yeah. You can. It's already late for you.
Thank you.
Guys, that's it for today. In case of any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we are going to discuss for now. Okay. That's fine, guys. I hope you don't have questions. In the next class, we'll discuss how to create VM, how to install Windows servers, and then how to set up RDP. We'll discuss all these things. And finally, okay, we'll install SQL Server, guys. Okay. So that's it for now, guys. We'll connect in the next class. Thank you all. Okay. Good day, good night. Bye.
Thank you.